Welcome to this deep dive, produced by Tybootha. Today we're jumping into a really special book, Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet. It's amazing how much it still resonates, almost 100 years later.
It really is. And Kahlil Gibran himself, quite a figure, Lebanese-American, known as a poet, philosopher, also an artist, a very creative soul.
Right.
Our sources don't pin down his exact birth year, but we know he gave us more than just the prophet. There's the madman, 20 drawings, the forerunner, too.
Showcasing that range.
Exactly. And his full name, just for the record, was Kahlil Gibran.
And The Prophet itself, it landed in 1923. Alfred A. Knopf published it right here in New York, copyright 1923 as well.
Mm-hmm.
What really strikes me is how quickly it took off. You see these reprintings listed March 24, August 24, then January 26. That's fast.
Oh, absolutely. It suggests people latched onto it almost immediately. And,
Yeah.
the details about the production, Vale Ballou Press doing the setup, Beck engraving the plates.
W.F. Etherington for the paper, Plimpton Press for printing and binding.
Yeah, all these different hands involved. It speaks to, well, a certain level of care and investment, I think, even early on. It wasn't just churned out.
No, definitely not. It feels like they knew they had something special. So this early success, it points to the core of the book, doesn't it? Let's talk about the structure. How is it set up?
Okay, so the whole thing is framed around this farewell. The central character is Almustafa. He's called the chosen and beloved, a prophet figure.
And he's been living in this city, Orphalese, for 12 years.
12 years, yes. Waiting for his ship, the ship that's meant to take him back home to the isle of his birth.
That's a long wait. Builds anticipation, I suppose.
It does. And the narrative picks up right as the wait is ending. It's the 7th day of Elul, the month of reaping.
The harvest month.
And then his ship appears. He sees it coming through the mist from a hilltop. It's a very visual, almost cinematic moment.
I can picture that. So the ship arrives, and that's the catalyst.
Exactly. That's the trigger. As he's preparing to leave, the people of Orphalese, who've obviously grown close to him over 12 years, they gather around. They don't want him to go without sharing some final wisdom.
Understandable.
So what unfolds is basically a Q&A session, but elevated. It becomes a series of 26 prose poetry essays.
26.
Yeah. Each one is Al-Mustafa's answer to a question from someone in the crowd. And the questions cover, well, pretty much everything.
Like the big stuff. Love, work.
Oh, yeah. Love, marriage, children, giving, eating and drinking, work, joy and sorrow, houses, clothes, buying and selling, crime and punishment, laws, freedom, reason and passion, pain.
Goodness, the whole spectrum of life.
Self-knowledge, teaching, friendship, talking, time, good and evil, prayer, pleasure, beauty, religion, and death.
Yeah.
He covers the map. Oh, and the book itself has 12 illustrations, original drawings by Gibran himself.
Right, adding another layer. So it's this collection of wisdom shared right at the point of departure.
Precisely. And Almustafa himself says his purpose is, let me get the phrasing right, to disclose to people that which has been shown you of that which is between birth and death.
That's quite a goal.
Yeah.
To map out the human condition in one farewell speech.
It's incredibly ambitious, isn't it? But that's the aim, to offer this sort of spiritual perspective on, the everyday things we all grapple with.
So digging into that a bit more, what are the core messages, the big themes that keep coming up in Almustafa's answers?
Well, several things stand out. Love is definitely central, not just romantic love, but love in a broader, more connective sense.
Okay.
But it's not simplistic. Gibran, through Al-Mustafa, really explores the relationship between joy and sorrow, the idea that you can't really have one without the capacity for the other.
That's a powerful thought. That sorrow carves out space for joy.
Exactly. It's quite profound. Freedom is another big one, breaking free from limitations, both external and, maybe more importantly, internal.
Self-imposed chains.
Right. And work, too. He elevates work beyond just making a living. It's presented as, like, love made visible, a way to express your spirit.
I like that.
And underlying it all is this deep sense of interconnectedness, that we aren't just isolated individuals, but part of a much larger whole. That life, nature, spirit, it's all woven together.
That comes through strongly, even in the language, doesn't it? The use of nature.
Oh, absolutely. He constantly draws metaphors from the natural world. The sea, the wind, mountains, trees, seeds, fields.
It makes these big philosophical ideas feel very grounded, tangible.
Yeah, tangible is a good word. It makes them accessible. The poetic language isn't just decoration. It's part of how the meaning is conveyed. It makes it feel timeless.
So bringing it to today, why should someone, pick up The Prophet now? What does it offer us in the 21st century?
Well, I think precisely because it tackles those timeless human questions: love, meaning, purpose, how to handle sorrow, how to find freedom. These things don't go out of date, do they?
Not at all. They're perennial.
Right, so it offers this source of reflection. It can be comforting, maybe challenging sometimes, definitely insightful, gives you a different lens to look at your own life, your own experiences.
And it's written in a way that's, well, it's not like a dense philosophical text.
Mhm.
It's poetic. It's accessible.
Exactly. That blend of prose and poetry is key. You can open it almost anywhere and find a passage that speaks to you, that makes you pause and think. You don't need a PhD in theology to get something profound from it.
You can revisit it over time, too, I imagine, and find new meanings
Yeah.
depending on where you are in life.
Absolutely. It grows with you. That combination of accessibility and depth is, I think, why it's had such staying power. It invites contemplation without being intimidating.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today. We've talked about Kahlil Gibran, the man behind the words, this fascinating figure.
Mm.
We've looked at the structure of the Prophet Almustafa's farewell, the questions from the crowd, the drawings.
Yeah, that narrative frame.
Yeah.
And its purpose aiming to shed light on that whole span between birth and death.
And those core messages running through it. Love, freedom, the link between joy and sorrow, work as spirit, that sense of interconnectedness.
All delivered in that unique, poetic style, drawing so much from nature.
And we touched on why it still feels relevant, why you might want to read it for that timeless wisdom, that accessible yet deep insight.
Right. It offers a different kind of nourishment, maybe. Food for thought, food for the spirit.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. As you heard us discuss some of Al-Mustafa's ideas, did any particular one resonate? Maybe something about giving or freedom or even sorrow?
Yeah, think about how those insights, even though they were written down a century ago, might connect with your own life, your own questions right now. It might just spark a desire to explore the book yourself.